Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 52 Topics with Frank Fiordolino, Episode 6, the Witness Protection Program, Phase 1. Frank, what's going on?
What's up, bud?
Good. So, Phase 1, huh? This is not something I've ever thought of. I thought witness protection is witness protection, but I guess it makes sense. There's certain steps you have to go through. So, give us a little rundown, real quick, going into it, and what was going on in your life at this point before you entered into the program.
Well, at this point, I was arrested on a racketeering murder charge, and I was going to go to trial, adamant about it. Um, they had given me a plea bargain at one point, which was something between 19 and 24 years, and then they and I figured if I got the number I wanted, I would have took it. But the more we were wasting time, I was getting closer to trial, and one day they subpoenaed me to go to the court, and they wanted my prints, special FBI prints, which they subpoenaed me towards my through the judge, and I was there for I don't know, maybe close to 2 years and a half, 3 years at the MDC right now where Puff Daddy is. So I was like, well, I have no choice, I gotta go, right? So my lawyers are there, we go, and there's these prints that, let's say if you're wearing gloves, they take your other side. They're not front prints, they're back prints. So what they do is they roll the back of your hand, and the feds have their special guy to come in there and do that. I was kind of like, at the same time, kind of relieved, but with the fact that, well, you guys don't really have that smoking guns and whatnot. I mean, to be taking this fucking kind of prints late in trial, but I didn't have the best lawyers at that point. So, but anyway, I show up. I'm pissed off for a lot of things at the point that I don't have the best lawyers. One of my lawyers, I not the best. I had okay lawyers. They were government lawyers still. And what do you mean by that is they're the pro bono lawyers. They're not so much mob people. They're good lawyers, but they're not gonna fucking play the game with you. Matter of fact, I told them I was innocent all along. After a while, they believed me, and I mean, they even kind of like entertained me taking a stand at one time, which I absolutely wouldn't have done. But I played them along. That's the game. We get there, and there's the AUSA and the Mitra Mosey actually, and and there's the main prosecutor in the case, Greg Andrews. There's two FBI agents and the guy who's going to roll my prints. So closer I'm getting to trial, I've been already superseded. Now they offered me a global plea with two other my co-defendants. They pushed me up to about 27 years. At that point, I'm saying, you know what? They got the goods. They started low and now they're going up. As closer I go to trial, they bluffing. They're not bluffing. I don't know what's happened. I told them straight out. Well, I told my lawyer I want to talk to him. They go, what do you mean? I just want to ask him something. He goes, go ahead. I didn't do it. I said, just give me a plea. I don't want to implicate anybody. Just whatever. Give me a decent plea. I mean, you're not going to see me again anyway. You know, I get something decent, 15 years, whatever, and I get deported. I ain't going to see me no more. And he kind of, to his credit, he kind of called my bluff, the prosecutor, and he goes, no, 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 no. You did it. He goes, yeah, you did. And he goes, and we're not budging. And I don't know what happened. I had my 2 minutes. And they say sometime, well, you contemplate to telling all the time. No, because if I'm not in that situation, I'm in court next week going to trial. You know what I mean? If I'm not
Yeah.
getting those prints. So I don't know who was playing what. I said, and yeah, I was mad at a couple people at the time. I said, okay. They go, how about if I talk? They go, well, let's hear what you got to say so we could give you a queen for a day, which you know what that is, right?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, you talk about everything you know. You just admit to your full criminality, essentially.
Right. And as long as you don't fucking testify, sit on the stand, they can't ask you anything about it.
Right.
And that's just the way it works. And I said, I don't know, let me think about it. So I go back, and the more I'm looking at it, I'm like, here I am with my, looking at life imprisonment if I lose. I got this plea. I got people really turning their back on me. I mean, I'm talking about family. Not people, because nobody owes you anything. You know what I mean? You do what you do, it happens, and whatever. Every man for himself. That's how it works. Especially when you're not made, and even when you're made, sometimes they leave you hanging. But I was just focusing on a couple of people,
Yeah. Yeah.
that just left me hanging completely. People that I've done things for that have a lot of money. I said, okay. I go back, and they get back to me. My lawyer comes back. I go, hey, look, they got back to her real quick. She goes, they want a queen for a day, but how do you feel about testifying against Joe Messina? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the time, the guy was the biggest guy in the United States. He was my co-defendant. I've known him at that point maybe a year and a half. Well, I'm not talking about seeing. I'm talking about I know him well. We have conversations, whatever.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know, man. He's not even my. I don't know. I go, that's hard. I mean, how do I go about this? I got family out there. At the time, telling on Joe Messina was a big deal.
Of
When Joe
course.
Messina was Joe
Mm, yeah.
Messina, okay?
Boss. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Obviously, this is before Messino
I,
decides that he's gonna flip.
yeah, 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 because
Um,
he's going to trial after me,
okay.
and
He's
I
next in
figured,
line.
yeah, I figured they'll get me out of the fucking way. I mean, they same prosecutors. They got to work on this case.
Right, right, right.
So I'm like, maybe I do get a good fucking plea, so they could focus on their big fish, and that was their big fish. I mean, they had 4 prosecutors on that case on them,
Right, right, right.
working that case. I mean, it was a big, big case. They had Vitali, Lino, Copa,
You know,
Canarella, D'Amico,
Tartaglione.
Taglione.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tartaglione also, yeah.
they had Pete Rosa. They had a
Unbelievable.
lot. Okay, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck they want me for? But at the same time, I'm like, the only thing I can get them about this fucking guy is what structure, gambling, whatever, And I wasn't thinking about it at the time because I did after, because after a while they were like, oh well, let's see what we could get off of him. Second trial, or get him on a third trial. For some fucking reason, maybe they like how I articulate things. I don't know. I don't know. But I was like, after a while, whoa, 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 whoa. I thought this was a one-time deal. So I'm like, well, I'm looking at life. Like 27 years, I either could do that and then get fucking deported. So I figured I flip. So I flip. Okay. So one day I tell them I'll do it. It's on. So we'll forget about that for now. The times I testify against him. I think it was like April, and his case is starts in July or June. I'm pretty sure it was June. So in April, one day, I'm up at my floor, and they call me and they say, "Hey, you gotta go." I made up my mind. I said I'll do it, and they pick me up, and they take me out of there. I remember Jack the Ross goes, "Hey, where you going?" I said, "I don't know. I think they call me on medical or something."
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
yeah, it was fucked up. It really fucked
Well,
up.
let me ask you before you move forward, I wanna ask you something.
Yeah.
Let's say it's the night before, and the next morning is when, you're thinking about it, and the next time they call you, you're gonna say, "Yeah, it's fine." What's going through your head that night? Like, flashes
A
of your
lot,
uncles,
a lot, a
flashes of your
lot,
family history, like, what's going on in your head?
a lot. Bad things. I'm like, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have did this. You know what I mean? But the bad thing about that is once you talk to them, and then even if you take your time, and God forbid they find out you talked to them one time, it's happened to other people we're not going to mention,
Uh-huh.
and you take it back. That world is not forgiving. It's always going to be, yeah. Well, you know what? He talked to the cops already. We
Yeah, yeah, I
talked to
can think of
the
one, probably the same one you're thinking, huh?
Yeah. So even if you want to take it back, but I did bad time. I leave, then they put me in this place in the state, and I'll tell you why. I said I thought, why don't I go straight to the fucking units? You talk about there's units and everything. Why don't I go there? Because it's a process. It's paperwork. It's fucking. I got to take a polygraph. They got to find a place with room. At the time, there were so many banana guys that flipped. They had a guy in every unit, so they had to wait for somebody to leave. So where do you put them? They changed my name and put me in some fucking state place. And a lot of guys, once they flip, they get paranoid. I didn't get paranoid. I didn't have that problem. I said, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I got a new name. Don't put me with fucking pedos. Don't dare do that. I did, and they're like, well,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I go, no, no, no. Don't put me in the crazy section, and just put me anywhere. If it's the max of your part of jail, I go, it's okay. I don't care. And that's what happened. And while I was, a matter of fact, there was one unit. You know that Angel of Death guy? Fuck, I was in place in Jersey. He was in that fucking crazy unit with all the fucking weirdos.
Angel of Death.
Yeah, the guy, the nurse who was fucking
Oh
killing
yeah,
people.
yeah, yep, yep, yep.
He was
Of course.
there, and I was like, "Fucking, don't you dare put me in there! I'll kill that guy."
Yeah, yeah.
No, I will. I mean, it was just that, so they didn't even humor it. I end up getting in a fight in one of these places because the guy was like, "Hey, you never go to court." Whatever. We get into a fight, and the guy goes, "Well, we got to put." And I said, "Just put me in the hole." And I stood in the hole for a month because they didn't want until another place got me. So I was going through this while they're going through the paperwork for phase two. Now, phase one rather. Phase two is on the outside. Let's pretend that don't even exist. That's for people like who they actually really need bad, and they just skip it and take them like Frank Coper and take them out, and they'll give them they'll sentence them years from now, but keep them on bail. You know what I mean? But because they needed
Yeah,
them so bad,
of course, yeah, yeah,
And one of his things was, I don't want to be in here no more.
yeah.
But a guy like me, younger and everything, and I mean, let's be real. Without me or with me, they would have made that case against Messino anyway. You know what I mean?
Right, did you feel like I mean, on a personal level in your family history, maybe personally devastated, but did you feel less guilty? I mean, all these big fish had flipped before you. You see all these guys that you maybe even looked up to, like, "Oh, these guys are captains. They're so
No,
powerful." Did that matter to you? Did you feel
n-
like, "Oh, like, wow, these fucking guys are doing it. Who the hell am I?"
no, no, because I was getting a lot from the family, my family. I remember my mother was just hardly talking to me. You know what I mean? And it was like kind of forced. I felt, and I remember calling her one time, and after Joe flipped. And this is to make you understand more or less. I go, Mom, look, this
Yeah.
guy even flipped. Well, I just talked to your brother from another jail. My brother was in another prison, and he told me, once you stink, you always stink, no matter who tells them. So, I mean, when your own mother's telling you that, it's pretty fucking tough. So I did a lot. I did tough time. So the more I try to forget about it, I was hard. There was one family member that was talking to me and doing maybe she felt bad too, but that stopped eventually too. And I end up going to phase one, and phase one is they get me out, and I end up doing like 9 months in state, two different state places while I wait to get accepted into the um witch sec units. But you got to take a fucking polygraph before you go in there too, and it has nothing to do with your case. It has to do more or less with if you're going to kill anybody in there that you know. Like if you run into somebody that told on you, are you going to do anything to them?
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
No, they
that
look
kind
for
of shit.
the little rapid heartbeat when they fucking,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They ask you like 6 questions. That's about it, and it's pretty simple. Believe it or not, there's guys that actually um fail that it took them a long time to actually get them in because of that question.
I bet.
And
Yeah.
um
Yeah, no, I bet. I mean, some
yeah,
people are fucking sick
yeah.
in the head, but you also could get nervous and something like that.
Right. So I'm like, well, I passed. It was all good, whatever. And you got to remember these units. There's 7 of them, including the one in New York. There's 3 in the East Coast, one in the West Coast, one in the Midwest, and one in Florida. And more or less, other than the one in the East Coast, the one in New York, which has 25 probably guys in there, and that's more like a hub for people to come see you. You got the best of the best in there because
Yeah.
your cases are active more or less. And then after they're done with you, the one in the Midwest is like the Siberia one because it's really fucking cold. They're all comfortable. They're not bad places, but they're different, and I'll explain to you how. Um, like you get the feel once you're in there and you see people like fucking I don't know Rayful Edmonds, Chris Slater, no later the Colombian guy,
Carlos later, yeah, really.
Carlos Later, Chris Paciello, who the fuck was in there too? They corn fed Salemi, Sammy. There was another the guys from Boston that robbed banks back in the day. And trucks. Those
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the, what the hell is his name?
I was with one guy named Ferguson. He he
Okay.
he he was the inspiration to cutting your hair and leaving it at the bank.
Yeah.
So there was a lot, but these guys, yeah, there were a lot of them. The demographic was as far as violence went, you had 70 guys. At least I would say easily more than half had bodies.
Wow.
So yeah, so when you're asking people you're gonna kill in there, it's it's because you're there with murderers, and whatnot. But when you get in there, they give you a Rolodex. And phase one, when you get into a place, and the Rolodex has pictures of inmates that if you ever had a problem with, if for those people who are scared, I mean, you look at them, you're like, oh yeah, I know him. I had a problem with him, and that's only gonna fuck you up because they're gonna put you in the hole. You understand?
Yeah.
But they do that. That's one of the things they do. Um, Back in the day, the perks were better because there wasn't many people talking, so they made them as comfortable as they could possibly. Today, it's different because there's so many people talking. They don't give a fuck. Um, like back in the 80s or 90s, guys that when they were mostly a Colombian, Mexicans, and Italians. Italian American Cosa Nostra. It wasn't many. They a lot of things changed. The qualifications, it's not easy. It's not for everybody. You got to be really into some messed up shit to be in there. You understand?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a lot of guys right there. I mean, I know some of them we're gonna do separate videos on, but Carlos later, that's pretty fascinating. Did you know who that was when you went in there?
Oh yeah, he was there with me for a week, and then they moved him to Florida. They had a place there because his family was there.
Okay.
Another piece of shit weasel. We could talk about him. I'm real fucked. There's a lot of fucked up people in these places. You know what happens when a lot of these guys fucking um flip? Their
Yeah.
real true nature comes out. Either
Mm.
they're fucking blatant fucking predators because they think they could get away with it because they're in these kind of places. Fights happen, believe me. People, it's not a penitentiary, man, because everybody has the mindset one day they'll get out. You understand?
Yeah, yeah, of
But
course.
guys who tell on people all the fucking time without even kites, like this guy, and their excuse would be like, "I want to get out of here. That's the only reason. Otherwise than that, nah, you're just a plain out." So you got to see a real ugly, ugly place. I mean, don't get me wrong. The only difference between that place and a lot of places in a low or a medium is they're the same. They just do it secretly. They'll drop a kite instead of fucking just blatantly tell on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, then you have the guys, I imagine, that, haven't come to grips with the fact that they are officially, rats, so to speak. They think they're still a boss man or something,
That's the
walking around.
Italian guys. That they kind of like fuck themselves in the mirror and thinking that they're still who they are.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. Remember that on one of our episodes. You get a lot of that shit. You get guys that are happy when fucking people get arrested, like they jump up and down. He got fucking convicted in three, and I was like, what the fuck? Why you should be happy? I mean, you should be happy about that. Fuck that. You should hope that they fucking don't get charged and you get your deal and everybody goes to fuck home.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, seems like a
yeah, high
criminal to me.
fiving
Yeah.
each other, just plain out fucking bullshit. It was and they don't prepare you for that. But I remember there was a handler of mine, a really good guy, and I don't think I'd ever talked to a Fed ever in my life, but he was a good guy. He says, believe it or not, as comfortable those places might make you want to feel, we get a lot of people fall into depression, because they're reminded and they look around and they say, wow, what the fuck did I do? You get people like that. Um, it's really depressive. Um,
Not
yeah,
even because of the setting, just like a mental thing. Like,
it's a mental thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely, definitely. And I
Yeah.
was in there with a lot. There was Mexican generals. They
Wow.
got picked up in big trouble. Yeah, yeah. I was in there with a general that was fucking dirty, and they picked them up.
Cartel connected generals and
Cartel,
all that.
Texas
Yeah.
Syndicate,
Yeah.
shit, Texas Mafia, A-beers, hate gangs, lowriders, drug lords, Crips, Bloods, Chicago gangs. All the major gangs. And it's sad. It's not sad. What I'm trying to fucking say is it within yourself you become fucking depressed over it.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine. I mean, I could only imagine. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I could see like a guy who's like just went against everything he stood for, and then on top of that, he's locked up with a bunch of guys that just went against everything he stood for, and he's got to coexist with all these guys together. Like, I could imagine, man. Yeah,
And
it's gotta be tough.
in some cases with what was going on at the time when I did go into these units was that the whole 9/11 thing was going on and the whole war on America, and so we had a lot of these guys that turned on the Taliban, Al Qaeda, and all them fucking. So
Yeah,
I
those,
was in there with them.
yeah.
So that even made it worse. I ended up getting into it with one of these homegrown Al Qaeda guys, and ended up spending 30 days in the hole for that.
It was worth
And
it.
yeah, it was worth it because I was in Manhattan, and he was more important to the government than me because he was giving them information on something that was going on overseas,
Uh-huh.
and he knew the people involved. So he was getting people from like what's that group from England? That CIA group,
Oh, the like the Scotland Yard.
not the Scott, the MI5
Oh,
or
the
something.
MI6, MI6.
MI6, whatever the
Yeah.
fuck it is, and they were coming to see him, and this guy was getting. All I was getting to see now and then was a couple of
Yeah.
fucking friends telling me, "Hey, are you doing okay?" Because at that point, I had I did I did testify against Messina at that point, so I wasn't really important to them. So one of us had to go, and one day they picked me up and they go, "You got a jacket?" I go, "Fucking jacket." I go, "For what?" I said, I knew it right away because you hear from other people. There's these units, and eventually you'll get designated. They're better because the one in Manhattan was so fucking cramped up, bro. It was like being in a submarine. But that's the one where homeboy was having rituals of being made.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Bo.
Yeah. Oh, you're leaving? That
We're
kind of
doing the
shit.
ritual. We're doing the ritual, Bo.
But he's all right. When I was in the hole, he was getting me some candy bars up there.
Nice,
So,
nice.
so yeah. So,
Not going anywhere for a while. How are the
oh
Snickers?
yeah, and it worked out. So the marshals come pick me up. I go, you have a jacket? I go, a fucking jacket, just like that. Over, yep. We head to the airport. From the airport, couple marshals cars. They dress me up, and I'm in a commercial flight. First one in, last one out. They go, we don't have to put these on you, do we? The handcuffs. I go, where the fuck am I going? I'm in a fucking plane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so but they were cool though. They drove. They. I remember, when you haven't had fast food in a couple of years, and somebody goes, "Hey, you want a burger?" and you're like, "Bro, I inhaled that fucking thing, and then I got a little
I
ice
bet.
cream with it." I was like already set, and I was done. I was going. I was. You believe it or not, the marshals were asking me on the way there because they were the marshals that belonged to the state I was going to because there's no in WITSEC they only have like 3 marshals per state.
Uh-huh.
So they go, "Hey, were you in there with Sammy the Bull?" I go, "Yeah." Goes, "How is he?" I'm like, "Are you serious right now?" They're asking me how he is.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. They
like
make
not not
friends.
not not like not like to no, yeah, we had him one time. He was a trip, all
Yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of shit. I'm like, come on, man, just get. I'm glad I'm away from him. I was like,
Oh
not
my
later.
god.
A year later, he's right there with me in fucking the Midwest. Yeah, exactly. So they take me there, and the same thing. The Rolodex. It's a bigger place. Everybody has the same name. I'm not going to say what it is. The same last name. What else is different? It was good. They had a Unicore, and Unicore is where you can work, and they paid pretty well. It was one of the better ones. So for guys that really didn't go to the store, what I mean is commissary, you could work at the Unicore, and they would pay like you needed to get your GED to make about $40 a month. So I didn't work, and I hate to say that. I'm sorry about that, but I just did. Um, I was on the gym all the time doing whatever. I had my little job cleaning around, but I didn't work in Unicor, and I felt that shit. Not that it was better than me. There was like the job was like for 30 or 40 people. I didn't want to take somebody's job that's all they had or help their family. Eventually, if you're a first grade, like make the most, you can make $400 a month back then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how far does $40 a month go in that
Nothing, but
facility?
you got to pass your GED
Right.
to start getting the promotion. So eventually, if you're a first grade, um, instead of a fourth, which is $40, you can make $400 a month.
That's pretty good
Yeah,
considering
you
you're
can.
locked up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's very good. The max you could spend was like 300,
Uh-huh.
and that's what they did. And you had one guy I remember. He was from Milwaukee. His name was Hal. He took the test. Poor guy. He took the GED like 4 or 5 times. He couldn't pass. He looked like Mike Tyson with dreads,
Well.
and he couldn't pass for shit. So I felt bad. So it was me and him going for it. They were taking bets. He's gonna fail again. Just fucking. Just inmates being assholes.
Yeah.
But we had a pool table there. Which is really dangerous. I mean, if a pool ball was missing, it was like everybody got locked down. There was fish tanks, bocce courts.
Really?
Yeah, but it wasn't a big place, and we had a tower too, which the place wasn't a complex, but the tower was there for us. It wasn't there for the lower people, the lows, because there's no towers in lows. Well, that's what they told me anyway. They're usually in pens.
How often do you get outside?
A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. We had leagues and stuff. We played football, we played basketball leagues. We did a lot. You could go out. I think at 6 in the morning, but you had to be. I think once it got dark, you had to come in. So it's like in the summertime 9 or something. You know what I mean? It wasn't they want to make you comfortable. You fucking rat. You know what I mean? Fucking that's what they do. But at the same time, it's not comfortable when the psyche is fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you can't escape your own head. I mean, they could give you a fucking water slide or in a pool, but you know, especially someone. I mean, anybody, but I'm sure like you're feeling judged every day by your family. I imagine.
I did better time in a worse place, feeling that I didn't flip, than a better place than when I flipped. And even when I got out, it was hard for a while. But whatever. That's years ago. It's amazing how many years have passed by. Shit. It's almost been what? Oh fuck. So
About 20 years.
wait, about 16 years since I've been out.
Yeah. Wow.
I got paroled in 2008. I had 5-year parole and I passed that. So um, and that was it. And then phase two is when you actually go in the outside world, and we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about that because, like we said about this show, I want to go get the old times and everything like that out the way. Give you guys an idea how kind of like I grew up, and then from there we'll even talk about. I'll talk about my time in the program on the outside. On the outside is phase two, as well as I talk about a little bit of everything because I call it 52 topics, but shit, I could go on for fucking years. You know what I mean? But there was a lot of good people I met in there. Not really a lot. I would have to say maybe a handful. I could count them on one hand because there was a lot of shitty people too.
So I mean, obviously you have a lot of activities, but what is a day like? You wake up in the morning, go through the day. I'm interested in how that
Sure.
goes. Do they ring a
I
bell or
would.
something, or do they put the lights on? Like, get up now, let's go.
No, no, no. They open the door. You hear them. Boom, boom, boom. You want to go get breakfast? You get breakfast. They're not waking you up. If you're one of those guys that sleep all day, they will wake you up. But you get institutionalized. I used to get up at 6:30, maybe. I used to watch the news, and then I'd go to the treadmill. I would go to the treadmill. I ran a lot. If it was the winter, I would run inside. And if it was, yeah, we had a treadmill, by the way. Like, we had a little
That's
indoor
good. Yeah.
basketball and outside. But then in the summertime, I would run outside. Um, Go to the gym, come back. I had a little job sweeping. I would sweep. I spent some time at the law library just because I was bored, not because obviously at that point I wasn't looking for no appeals or anything like that, and there wasn't really anybody. Believe it or not, there was people got the guys doing life in there, but they were pretty much non-violent, so they let them stay there. Because you fuck up there when you get like anything, you go into the ADX. That's
Yeah.
another thing about that place. There's no you fuck up, then you're not going in population. You're going one place. You know that,
Yeah. Mm.
so you got to watch out. Yeah, that was the day. Then we after that, I would write some letters, spend some time at the law library or the library, read. I would do lunch, then I go back. We'd play basketball. I'll play for hours. I would play for hours.
Yeah, I'm starting to think. Like, I was just gonna ask you now that you mentioned playing basketball and all this. Like, did you ever stop and think like, I mean, maybe this is off base, but oh, this is kind of fun in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't crying in a corner. If that's what you
I
mean.
mean, it feels like you have all these activities, you're getting
Yeah, there was
fed,
yeah,
you
yeah. There
make
was guys
friends,
making
I'm sure.
Yeah, there was guys making vases. There was some guys who were drinking, making hooch. There was guys that I didn't drink one time in jail, and I could swear on that and everything I love. Everybody
Any
like
any Native
um
American tobacco ceremonies going on?
I no, that wasn't there yet. I know he talks about that. That wasn't there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um
Okay.
no, 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 no. There was a Native American from Arizona. He was a big, big, big guy. He was there. I
Some
forgot.
cuckoo's nest dude.
He seemed that way, but he was on my wiffle ball team. I started a wiffle ball league,
Yeah, yeah,
and Mike Yamin and myself played on that team as well. We were New Yorkers.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I never lost a game. Um, when I pitched anyway, because we grew up on that shit. I had a nice fucking slider curve.
Sick. Yeah.
They were like frisbees, and I could hit the ball too. So we used to have a league. It was fun. What else did we used to do? It wasn't bad. And the food was really good, believe it or not. You gotta
Yeah, what
remember, a
kind
lot
of
of these
food
guys don't.
you had, like, real, cooking staff? Like, it wasn't just, like,
Yeah,
microwave
you had
meat?
a cooking staff. If you like on the weekends, we had eggs, and if you knew the guy, he can make eggs any way you want
Okay.
them. There was only so many people in there, but a lot of these people, you gotta remember, had lots of fun. You had fucking guys with money. Okay, I'm talking about. So they had restaurants. They owned restaurants, Italian restaurants, Mexican restaurants. So they cooked, and they were good cooks. Like when the COs would have a party or something. Sometimes back in the day, they used to have these guys cater for them.
Oh, wow.
Put
Mm.
it this way: the COs used to eat our food. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how good the food was. We had salmon. We had Chicken fucking, in jail when you're in chicken's gold. They'll trade for you for a fucking chicken leg, you know.
Hey, that's gotta be a
Uh,
sweet gig for the COs too, if they're in that unit.
well, if they live in that small town and they get sent there, yeah.
Yeah,
It's babysitting, but you got to watch out though.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I never came across COs that looked at us any different from when I the ones that did when I was in a regular place, you know. But that's more or less what you were looking at. But they're hard places to get. People think that the only people that tell are the only people that are out there that outed themselves. There's a lot of people that told they just couldn't get in. You know, they tried that and they're like, well, you don't have enough for us to give you a deal. You understand?
Right, or
And they're the
if I
worst. They're the
mean
ones that go, and they're the worst. They're the ones who go in prison. Those guys that try to tell, and then go in there and like start labeling everybody because they couldn't get a fucking deal. Like, yo, man, that guy's a rat. I know he is. You know all that shit.
yeah, what happens if a guy does have enough, but at the same time, he's, like, kinda unstable and they don't trust him to be around anybody? I mean,
No,
where
he
does
don't. They don't take them. I mean, you listen. Today, in today's age, with all these cooperators out there, especially in organized crime, I know one guy that was unstable, and he claims he told. But I'm not going to be the one to blow his spot up. You know what I mean? Um, you understand?
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So fucking like, I don't know. Yeah, that does exist. When there's fucking 10 guys that are telling on your case, and even if you do got murders on the guy you're telling on, you got to be stable. You got to make sure that understand that they're not going to tear you apart. You know what I mean?
Right,
For being a little crazy.
of course, yeah.
And that happen. Of course, that happens. Or but there's some guys that have done really really bad shit, and they take him anyway because they feel that they're honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's
You
happened
know,
countless times. I mean,
yeah. But Nancy Grace said it the best. Sometimes you go to hell to get witnesses to prosecute the devil. You understand?
yeah, I mean, Sammy would
When
be
you're
a good
prosecuting
example,
the devil, I
obviously.
said it all. When you're prosecuting the devil, you got to go to hell to get witnesses. You know?
Right. I mean, Sammy would be a good example. Mickey Featherstone would be a great example with the
Sure,
Westies. I mean,
sure.
yeah, we've seen that. I mean, of course, and Messino's a prime example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though I guess you could, I don't know. I guess they had a hard on for Vinny Gorgeous, but
Well, the same guy who told me I was lying about I had nothing to do with my crime was the guy he wanted to kill.
yeah,
Greg Andrews, who happens to
exactly. Yeah.
be,
So that,
who,
yeah, no, that, yeah, of course, I can't forget about that supposed
yeah,
hit, prosecutor
yeah, yeah,
hit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Then we
yeah.
got the recording. I mean, you said you heard those recordings years ago, but
I
the
did.
television program recently put them out with Messina wearing that wire on Vinny Gorgeous talking
No,
about.
I didn't hear. I didn't hear the. Hold on. I didn't hear the ones with Messino and
Oh,
Gorgeous.
I thought you heard
No,
those.
no. I heard the ones with Taglione.
Tartaglia and
Yeah.
Urso and them.
Yes, the ones that
Oh,
everybody said, that they just heard now. Those I heard
right.
those.
Oh, okay.
I
My
told you
mistake.
there
My
was
mistake.
somebody who was being implicated on those tapes who had access to those tapes in the law library, and there was so much overwhelming evidence. He didn't give a fuck who listened. She goes, "Come on, guys, let's go entertain ourselves." So we
Yeah.
went downstairs. Me, Jackie DeRoche, and this guy who was about 400 pounds. We're wearing headphones, laughing. At how the way these fucking guys were getting fucking not
Yeah.
laughing, but nervous laughing. Like, do you believe this shit this guy pulled with? And out of all those tapes, believe it or not, and Vinny Gorgeous was the one who was the least on him. I think that's why they couldn't arrest him because
Uh-huh.
he was figuring out a rat on the. I think he figured Louis Taglione be a fucking was playing both sides, and he
Uh-huh.
would just cut it short, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, nah, I'm good. I'll see you later, Bo. You know what I mean? That kind of shit.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
later
Yeah.
on, he's fucking wanted to take over a family that's almost ruined. I just doesn't. It kind of like baffles me.
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, that one Tortaglione clip is the one on YouTube is pretty funny because with Urso and I forgot who else is in it because they're actually talking about rats as he's recording them. I find
Oh
that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And then, so yeah, I got it confused. I'm sorry. I didn't know you heard the Messino and the Basciano one until recently.
No,
I thought you heard that, but that was just as I was,
somebody asked me what did I think about the tone. Was it? I said, yeah, it was really him. And yeah, yeah, of course that's him. It's
right.
just that it's kind of like disoriented sound, but it's him because I could tell the approach, the way he approaches,
Uh-huh.
especially on the second time he talks to him and he says, what do you tell him? He said, where
He's
Joe
talking about
goes,
Pizzolo at one
he goes,
point.
yeah, I gave you a pass the last time we talked. Now I want to know what happened.
Yeah.
And that is very that's Joe 1,000%. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and he's that guy. That guy. Always been that guy. And in the mob, when your boss asks you, you can get whatever the fuck it is, you tell him. Especially when it's Joe Messino.
Right. Of course. Of course.
Vintage Joe Messino. You don't beat around the bush. And if you say you've been in that life, you should know that. When you leave phase one, I got sentenced, and they said keep them there for 30 more days. After I got sentenced, I was in February 2008. They kept me there for 30 more days so they could get me situated. I had gotten time served, and to get me situated, I have to see a psych where she basically, makes it. She determines if I'm going to get in trouble out there again. And
Mhm.
she'll make me aware if I need to see psychs out there, whatever, fucking whatever. And this is what I heard from the counselor after. She goes, you know, uh, she says you were hitting on her. I said I wasn't hitting on her. I said I was just probably being myself. She goes, yeah, and she also thinks that you're gonna get in trouble out there too. I said, why? She goes, I don't know. And she goes, not bad. She goes, what was she saying? She felt that if I go into a fucking place and I get a little annoyed, I'm gonna get into a problem. Um, whatever. It kind of like she was semi right, but not that much.
Yeah. I mean,
I
listen.
wasn't gonna go rob a bank, but if somebody pissed me off in a place, they probably let you get in trouble. That's what she meant.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah. But that was it, and I haven't. Well, we'll get into that. With my phase two, my problem, me getting kicked out of the program, and I'll explain that thoroughly. I will. You'll understand once I explain it to you.
Yeah, I know you wanted to break this up, phase one, phase two.
Yeah.
Um, what you
If
know,
you like this one and you want to hit a phase two sooner, I could probably do it, but I'd rather go accordingly to me doing my time. There's going to be a lot of stories where I talk about the phase one. Phase one is about everybody I met in phase one, and there's a lot of interesting people that a lot of people in the mob genre like, and we'll
yeah,
go from there.
definitely, definitely. And some of the characters that we mentioned earlier, we do have smaller uploads planned for those, like the 35, 40 minutes, sometimes 20-minute little uploads that we've been putting out on different characters. Definitely going to continue with those. If there's a character that deserves something more extensive, of course, that'll be a full episode, and there's going to be plenty of those. Before we end this episode, I know, there's going to be people just hearing you speak about this, Frank. They're going to be like, this motherfucker, there's like this anti informant, whatever, and this guy's having fun on the government's dime. These guys are eating good. Listen, guys, because I know what it is. I know it's gonna come, but to that, it's just like, you know what? This is reality. This is somebody's life, and everybody has a right to speak about their life. And I believe what we have going on here, based on the conversations we've had, based on how many people we've got to subscribe. I think people really appreciate what we're doing. So, to those that might have a problem here or there, that's fine. Just be respectful. A couple of people have said a couple of things in the comments. They were very respectful, I feel, in their approach. They have difference of opinions, and we're always here to have good conversation and push back and disagree and agree. And if you have anything to say, if you have a disagreement with Frank or anything, Frank is more than willing, I think, to have the conversation in the comment section.
Yeah,
And
you don't. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You don't have to agree to. We could agree to disagree on things. I'm not. I don't. Shit. I'm. You got to remember before I cooperated. I was right or whatever. I thought like a lot of you people did. So, and I still do in some ways, in some instance. Everybody has a different story, but I'm not going to judge the people who did. I can't. I can't. Well, these places, I'd rather have my frame of mind than be in a place that was worse. Looking back, than not know what the hell was going on and be in a place that's better. You know what I mean?
yeah, and you know
I didn't
what?
think of it that way. Believe me, the mental illness that was going on in these type of places was strong.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? You'd either still be there right now, or you would be in Italy. But you're not. You're on episode 6 of 52
Right.
Topics with Frank Fiorellino. So
Yeah, I'm not here saying you like it or not. Fuck you. I know. I'm just telling you my
yeah,
story,
of
and
course.
that's just the
Yeah.
reality of it. So there it goes. There it goes. You got it.
If you guys like this, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up. If you have any more questions, or if you have anything you want to ask Frank, please leave it in the comment section. You could also hit us up on our email, 52topics at gmail.com. Make sure to go over to Spotify, give us a follow over there, maybe a listen if you have time. And we're going to be doing lives every Monday now. Is that what's going on?
It looks like that way. So if you guys want to bring your snowballs, and after this episode or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I went about a couple of things that was there, and
Yeah.
people will probably get annoyed about it. But at the same time, it was no cakewalk. It wasn't fun at all. It was probably, and if I had to, sometimes I feel like I wish I could take it back, But and then at times I'm like, well, you can't do that, and it is what it is.
Yeah, listen, it's a part of your story, so we can't hide from it, and we're going to
No.
continue. We're going to continue not to hide from it. You're going to talk about it in the future. But at the end
Well,
of
I'm
the
not gonna
day,
lie and tell you that fucking I was in the penitentiary, I was in prison, and we had a hardened time and this and that, like some people do. I got tattooed up and whatever, and no, it was.
yeah,
They
yeah,
tried to make you as comfortable as possible because of what was going on. But there was fights too. There was a lot of incidents. I seen people get hit with mop ringers. So
yeah. Jeez,
there's people that were like, this ain't for me anymore. And didn't want to be in there no more, and put me in population. I've seen that too.
of course, yeah, and yeah, yeah, and like I said, listen, this is about your life. We're not. You're not going to hide from anything.
No,
But at the same time, in with that, this is not a disparaging channel. Frank is not here to you know, fucking pick gripes with people and like some other channels do where they hold a fucking 30-year grudge and that's all we got to hear about. This guy, that guy. No, we're talking about history, New York City history, Frank's history. And you know what? We haven't got barely any fucking hate comments on this channel. And that says a lot. And I'm very proud of that. And we're fucking marching forward, man. I love it.
and let's wait for our next one. What we're gonna do? A couple of year. The next one's gonna be. We focus on a year. Focus on people in my neighborhood again. The Licata brothers was one of them. We're gonna
Yep.
discuss that.
Hmm.
The Ayelos. We have a lot. So stay tuned. This is we're with the older group right now, and when we get out of that, we're gonna focus into the younger groups. So yeah, I hope you liked it, and yeah, there you go. In a nutshell, which set phase one.
Thank you,
I'll see
ladies and
you, bro.
gentlemen. Thank you,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen. This has
I'll
been
see you, bro.
episodes. Huh?
No, what is it? I'll see you, bro.
I'll see you later, Bo. Listen.
Yeah, I was at a hard place. I was getting breaking rocks every day. Well, at least I'm being honest.
Oh, I'm
You know?
fucking choking. All right,
All
ladies
right.
and gentlemen, this has been episode 6, 52 topics with Frank Fiordolino. Phase 1,
Thank you,
witness
guys.
protection. Thank you.